RCMP decided to try being spies. The Mounties devised a top-secret plan to photograph communist and Soviet bloc officials traveling through Pearson International Airport. The Canadian press obtained the information through the Access to Information Act. The plan was hatched in November of 1964 by a member of the RCMP's Security and Intelligence Branch and involved a special police squad made up of members from the provincial and Toronto police forces. Coming up, traffic and weather together.
They really
on the
believe
ones.
they're fucking
680 News Time,
007.
709. 680 News, Toronto.
During this day season, have you noticed how some homes seem to sparkle more than others? Take a look around. It's probably the lighting. Lighting makes all the difference in a home. It makes the ordinary extraordinary. So why not take advantage of the unbelievable Boxing Week event on now at Lando Lighting, where everything is on sale. You don't want to miss this sale. Up to 50% off selected items. For a massive lighting selection and discounts, go now to 210 Clarence Street, Brampton.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Zenpro says the price of gas will stay the same at midnight, holding at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTA stations. 680 News Time, 710.
How does Sugar Plum Fairy transform Canada's Wonderland into the world of Winterfest?
We need lights, millions of them, a gigantic Christmas tree, and Snoop in the Peanuts game, and ice skating and carolers spreading cheer. And more lights, and a heap of live shows and family rides. But lights!
Hurry, our magic only lasts on the world of Canada's Wonderland's Winterfest. Select dates in December 31st.
Don't miss the final days of Winterfest. Open daily Thursday through December 31st. Save on tickets at CanadasWonderland.com.
CAMH is Canada's leading hospital for mental health. Help make this year's holidays brighter for patients at CAMH through Gifts of Light. When you support Gifts of Light, a patient in need receives a gift that reminds them they aren't alone this holiday season. Small gifts can make a big difference to someone living with mental illness. Please, give a gift of light to someone in need at giftsoflight.ca today.
680 News Time, 711. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks. And this report brought to you by 407 ETR. If you're on the southbound 427, the express ramp to the Gardiner is blocked. It's actually the right shoulder that's blocked, so be careful. A tow truck is on the scene.
Be careful, there's a tow truck
Good news on the southbound Don Valley Parkway. It looks as though approaching the westbound Gardiner ramp, things have cleared because there's no longer a backup. Now, there is a bit of a backup on the eastbound 401. First of all, east of Yonge in the express, problems have cleared, so that's good news. But at Bayview in the express, we've got a stalled tractor trailer on the right shoulder, a tow truck blocking the right lane. So right now, the backup is from east of Yonge, mainly in the express. The collectors through there are moving quite well. We also had reports that the ramp from eastbound 401 to Ritson Road, that was the ramp was closed all because of a crash, and emergency crews were on the scene. 407 ETR traffic experts study driving patterns all year round to ensure a smooth ride 365 days a year. Visit 407etr.com. Your next traffic report coming up at 7:21. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriacci.
Well, light drizzle here in the city of Toronto and across the GTA. We're either seeing drizzly conditions or some light freezing rain. We're going to get into more widespread freezing precipitation over the next couple of hours, and the winds are starting to get stronger too. Wind warnings have now been issued for parts of southwestern Ontario, so we could see some of those wind warnings popping up a little closer to home over the next couple of hours. Gusts expected up to 80 kilometers an hour through the overnight, especially along the lakeshore and areas along Lake Ontario as well. Periods of rain and drizzle overnight and through Monday morning, another 5 millimeters through the day tomorrow, highs near +8. We could see a change over to flurries Monday night, pick up about a trace to 1 centimeter as we fall to 0. Misty conditions at Pearson right now, and +1. Your overnight low is 1 degree.
Right now, downtown Toronto, 1 degree with some light drizzle over at Pearson Airport. Similar conditions and the wind chill making that feel more like -5. LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers has been named the Associated Press's Male Athlete of the Decade.
Some were burning his jersey in Cleveland when he left for Miami, but after winning 2 NBA titles, he went back to Ohio, won another, then left for the Lakers. James also did great things off the court, like open the I Promise school in Akron.
For young kids, ages 7, 8, 9, 10, the most important thing that we can give them is structure and a sense of they just want someone to feel like we care.
James was a runaway winner in the AP balloting, with New England quarterback Tom Brady finishing second. I'm Shirley Adler.
So to come on 680 News, list of your top stories and sports. 680 News Time, 7:14.
Have you heard? TSC is celebrating Boxing Day every day from now until New Year's Eve. That means you can take advantage of the biggest markdowns of the year whenever you want, without ever going outside. Save up to 65% on clearance items, including fashion, jewelry, beauty, and home products. Plus, all electronics are available with 12 easy pay payments. You won't want to miss a beat during TSC's Boxing Week blowout. Now until New Year's Eve. Shop TSC.ca. Today's shopping choice.
You head out the front door and head to the car. Slide into the driver's seat and begin. Every time you start your car should be the start of an adventure. Where will yours take you?
You could take that a couple different ways,
Fiat. We want you to be satisfied from the moment you walk in till the moment you drive off the lot. Come in today to start your adventure. Von Chrysler Fiat. We stand behind our cars. Join the family at VonChrysler.com.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
It's 1 degree with some light drizzle. Good evening from the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. I'm Tim Chapman. Here are the top stories at this hour. The cold, wet weather continues with a freezing rain warning in effect for southern Ontario tomorrow. Might be a good idea to leave a little earlier than usual for work. Toronto police identified the city's latest homicide victim as 26-year-old Koshin Yusuf. Police are looking for 2 suspects who allegedly shot and killed Yusuf outside a property at McCowan and Trudell Street at around 3 a.m. And coming up after sports, why there might be something missing from your kid's astronomy textbook. 680 News Time, 7:15.
You got Pluto. Is it going to be something more than that?
Sportsnet 590, the fan. Good evening, Colin Tesky.
Good evening,
Please don't tell me it says the Earth is flat.
Sportsnet 1, it's the Thunder against the Toronto Raptors. We are tied at the half at 47. Final weekend in the NFL's regular season. Lots of playoff implications on the line. Let's start in the NFC East. The Eagles visiting the Giants. It's simple for Philadelphia. Win, and they're in. And Fletcher Cox just forced a fumble from Daniel Jones. Boston Scott ran in from the goal line. Boston Scott as well ran a 30-yard scamper down the goal line. He got another touchdown. It's 33-17 for Philadelphia. The Cowboys can also still win the division. They need the Eagles to lose and also need to beat the Washington Redskins. And right now they lead 36-16 in the fourth quarter. Meantime, Tennessee looking to secure the final wildcard spot in the AFC. They lead the Texans 28-16.
More likely to get ticketed or warned by the special constables on the bus.
Second round after they lost to the Dolphins 27-24. Tonight on Sunday Night Football, winner gets the NFC West Division crown. Seattle takes on the San Francisco 49ers. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime on with Tim and Sid on TV and radio. Sportsnet 590, the fan.
That portion of the news brought to you by 2001 Audio and Video. 680 News Time, 7:17.
There's still time to go extra rounds at 2001 Audio Video's biggest and best Boxing Week sale. There's still inventory reduced to the absolute lowest price ever and amazing door crashers. So hurry in for the best selection. From wireless and audio products to 4K smart TVs with 2-year warranty, many below cost. 2001 with the guaranteed lowest Boxing Week price. 2001
At Sicily Honda, our family wants your family to bring home a little joy during our Bring Home a Honda event. Come in during Boxing Week for our best deals of the year and receive a 55-inch TV or 1,000 air miles reward miles with your purchase. All inventory has been reduced, and yes, we need your trade-in. There's also a draw each hour to win a trip to Vegas. Conditions apply. Go to SiciliHonda.com for details and visit Sicily Honda, 88 Steel Studios Avenue, just west of Yonge.
680 News Time, 7:18. Astronomy textbooks everywhere were made out of date this year after a brand new moon was officially added to Neptune's family, bringing its total to 14. 680's Curtis Dowring explains why it took so long for astronomers to spot it.
This is a CNN special report. In August 1989, the Voyager 2 spacecraft made its historic flyby of the solar system's most distant planet. The views of Neptune and its bizarre moon Triton have been called astounding. Voyager 2 discovered 6 moons that summer, but it failed to see something else, something 34 kilometers wide hiding just outside the spacecraft's field of view. It would take another 15 years before the tiny moon was first imaged by the Hubble Space Telescope, and almost a decade longer for astronomers to realize what they were looking at. But now that we've mapped out its orbit, the object has been given an official name, Hippocamp, after a mythological seahorse. A research team out of the SETI Institute in California theorizes that Hippocamp formed when a comet slammed into another of Neptune's moons, breaking off huge chunks of rock, which later coalesced. It's possible other moons got their start the same way, perhaps even some that we just haven't spotted yet. With This Week in Science, I'm Curtis Doran.
680 News Time, 7:19. You've probably heard of the old rhyme, and with the holidays in full swing, it's never been more relevant. Liquor before beer, you're in the clear. Beer before liquor, never been sicker. 680 Jonathan Muma speaking to astrophysicist Dr. Rob Thacker, who says in reality, that's just not true.
Thacker says no matter which order you drink or how much you drink, you're literally poisoning yourself.
So at least as far as the science is concerned, it shouldn't matter which order you have, liquor or beer, as long as you have the same total amount, you'll just get just as sick in the end.
But Thacker has a theory which may explain the old saying.
If you have beer first, you're used to drinking a lot of volume, and then when you switch to spirits, you may actually drink more alcohol in the end. So always be careful once you start getting really tipsy to know how much alcohol you're drinking.
Yeah, it's a hangover isn't just a headache. Alcohol stops your body from doing a lot of things it needs to do, which is why it makes you feel so awful. Taking a trip on the science ship, I'm Jonathan Muma.
Coming up, traffic and weather together on the one. 680 News Time, 7:20.
Hey, Dad, I'm just reading here that the flu can be pretty serious for seniors.
Good thing I got a flu shot. High dose, actually. It's 24% more effective than Fluzone standard dose. Your senior dad stays on top of things.
Trendsetter.
High dose is now covered in Ontario and free for adults 65 plus. Get the high dose vaccine only in doctors' clinics. Contact your doctor and make an appointment.
Vaccination does not provide 100% protection. Side effects and allergic reactions may occur. Talk to your doctor to see if this vaccine is right for you or visit fluzone.ca.
Mom, you should really get a flu shot. The flu can hit seniors pretty hard. I already got a flu shot. High dose, actually. My doctor recommends high dose because it's 24% more effective than Fluzone's standard dose. Your senior mom is smarter than you think.
High dose is now covered in Ontario and free for adults 65 plus. Get the high dose vaccine only in doctors' clinics. Contact your doctor and make an appointment.
Vaccination does not provide 100% protection. Side effects and allergic reactions may occur. Talk to your doctor to see if this vaccine is right for you or visit fluzone.ca.
680 News Time, 7:21. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Glenn Desjardins.
Thanks. Well, despite the rain, we're not doing too badly on the main highways around the Toronto area, but we're watching things very carefully because we do have a freezing rain warning, I believe more to the west, but everything seems to be moving quite nicely. Now, we do have a couple of problems. This is the southbound 427. It's the express ramp to the Gardner. We've got problems off on the right shoulder, but we've got emergency crews blocking the right lane right now. So the backup is from Dundas
on the browser
in the Express. If you're traveling right now on the southbound Don Valley Parkway, we had quite the backup to on the ramp to the westbound Gardner, but that has since eased off. We had a problem with a disabled vehicle there, and that has cleared. Now, if you're on the eastbound 401 at Bayview in the Express, a stalled tractor trailer is on the right shoulder, but a tow truck is blocking the right lane, so that's squeezing things right now in the Express.
Someone just carjacked one of these $200,000 truck.
Express. Also, we had reports, and if you're there, you can update us. The ramp from the eastbound 401 to Ritson Road was closed, all because of a crash. Emergency crews were on the scene. You can let us know. Our free traffic tip line, star 680. Also, don't forget, Commissioners is closed both ways from Munition to the Don Roadway. And the Don Roadway is closed from the Commissioners to the Lakeshore. It's for long-term construction until about May 2020. It's Boxing Week blowout at TSC. Shop our biggest markdowns of the year and save up to 65% off clearance. Plus, get 12 easy pay payments and all electronics. Shop tsa.ca. Your next traffic update is at 7:31. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriachi.
Yeah, freezing rain warnings still in effect through the York and Durham regions. We're seeing some misty, drizzly conditions over at Pearson and downtown right now. In the next half an hour to an hour, we'll likely see a bit more widespread wet weather again. This has kind of been the quiet pocket in what has been a very unsettled afternoon and evening here. The winds are starting to pick up, and we have some wind warnings now through southwestern Ontario. We could see maybe some wind warnings popping up through Hamilton, through the Niagara region over the next couple of hours. Expecting some winds to gust up to 80 kilometers an hour, especially along Lake Ontario, again through the overnight. So with all of the ice accretion, we are expecting for some pockets of the GTA and southern Ontario, along with the strong winds, certainly some power outages are expected. Now, right now, we're sitting at +1 downtown and at Pearson. That's your overnight low tonight, 1 degree.
Right now, downtown Toronto, 1 degree, some light drizzle. Over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions, and at 1 degree, feeling more like -5. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, the latest on what you can expect from now until your morning commute from Mother Nature, and a couple of ongoing homicide investigations in the GTA. 680 News Time, 7:25.
If I told you there are as many as 2,000 homeless youth in our city each night, would you care?
What if I told you most of them have suffered from abuse and neglect? Then would you care? What if I told you many feel safer on the streets than they do at home? Now do you care? What if I told you I really need your help?
How young do they need to be before you care? Donate $8 a month to Covenant House Toronto and provide homeless kids with a warm bed, hot meal, and a better future. Visit covenanthousetoronto.ca to donate.
The ultimate traffic reports in the city. Every 10 minutes on one.
Getting you there as fast as humanly possible.
This is 680 News.
Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker scored another winning weekend. The spot atop the box office was essentially unchallenged over the holidays. It pocketed another $72 million, and so its second weekend out, bumping its domestic gross to $361.8 million, only slightly behind where The Last Jedi was at this point 2 years ago.
Some holiday deals on the internet sound good. Half-price invisible unicorn? Sold. But when you think about them, empty. You got me again, internet. Not so much. Get a great holiday deal you don't have to think about at the Bring Home a Honda event. Lease the new 2020 Honda Civic LX for just $65 weekly at 3.99% and $0 down, including a $750 Honda bonus. Includes freight and fees for 60 months. Taxes extra. OAC. See HondaOntario.com. Bring Home a Honda. No thinking required.
Existing alarm systems or new installations, the Monitoring Center does it all for the lowest monthly rates in the country. Switch your alarm from your current provider or allow one of our qualified technicians to install a new customizable security system for you. Call the Monitoring Center today. Think security? Think the Monitoring Center. Why? Because we care.
1-866-24-7 or $9.99. 1-866-24-7 or $9.99.
7:26. Now the 680 News Weekend Business Report.
I'm Chris McCusker. One of the top business stories this year, data breaches. And Trend Micro expects it could be a big story for 2020 as well. Greg Young is the Vice President of Cybersecurity.
I think what it really comes down to is the experience between the victim company. For example, financial institutions, large banks, militaries, governments, they're pretty used to this kind of engagement and, sort of cyber war, whereas a lot of municipalities, provinces, small and mid-sized companies, they're not used to this.
And your organization published a report predicting 4 key themes that will define 2020, including how the future is complex, exposed, misconfigured, and defensible. Can you elaborate on that?
Complexity has always been the enemy of good security. So the more sort of technology, the more complexity, the more people involved, the easier it is for the attackers. For example, there's some open banking standards that are starting where third-party companies now can get involved in financial transactions that they previously weren't really involved with, called fintech companies or financial technology companies around the world. That's a new step that's going to be happening a lot of the next year. And that's
Tell
a great
me more.
concern.
Tell me
Once
more.
again, more complexity, more parties involved.
So how do we fight
Put
it?
that on a
Really
credit
sort
card.
of, look at all of your technology. Unfortunately, there's a lot of companies
The
now
name on the thing,
that aren't
fintech.
used to engaging in sort of a
Fintech
lot of security.
services, or
Especially they're
enterprises,
bringing
that's
on
it.
technologies that used to be not smart, and now they're smart through Internet of Things. So televisions, speakers probably aren't well secured. So those are all the things that you have to take care of in your business, as well as all of your primary business, especially anything associated with money. And last of all is keep your people really aware.
And with the business here
So
in
what?
review,
Hey.
I'm Chris McCusker.
Castle Light
Motherfucker.
Furniture's December sale ends soon.
Have one what?
For 17 years,
Damn
our
it.
December
I'll
sale
get
has
it.
always
Just
been the
fucking
biggest
tell me what it
event.
was.
Unlike other sales, this sale is on every item we carry. And this
Oh,
year,
that is
we
gonna
have over
bother me
30 of
till
our
the
most
next hour.
popular vendors in on the app,
Don't do it
including
again,
our
too.
top modern Canadian manufacturers, as well as a great selection from all over the world. Come and see what we have in store or online to enjoy our best pricing of the year.
Sale ends soon. Up to 30% off all new orders. 3 locations, including Evans Avenue east of Kipling. Visit CastleLife.com.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Hurry! It's your last chance to donate for 2019.
680 News Time, 7:30.
Number one for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Good evening. This is Sunday, December the 29th. I'm Eden Tababan.
You're supposed to know this. You're supposed to have it on a clock in front of you, eh? Holy shit.
Freezing
I'm
rain
just
warning for
guessing.
out from
I
most of
set these
southern
clocks. I
Ontario.
know they could be wrong.
Toronto police identifying
I
the
know where you
city's
get that calendar
76th
from. I hung it on the
homicide
wall,
victim of 2019. 2 suspects are still at large.
Police still searching for clues after a 26-year-old man was murdered in Etobicoke early Friday.
Things are looking up for Team Canada ahead of tomorrow's game against Germany.
Close game in the third quarter between the Thunder and the Raptors in the final weekend of the NFL season. Lots of playoff implications. Sunday Night Football as well, as we have the Seahawks taking on the Niners. Sports at 45.
680 News Time, 7:31.
Time for traffic and weather together on the one. Cisco at Desjardins.
Thanks, and this traffic report is brought to you by Leon's Furniture. Right now, the eastbound
Why I
401 at
look
Bayview
towards
and
the
the
damn
Express.
radio. I'm not gonna
The
hear
tractor
it today.
trailer is on the shoulder. It's stalled. We've got a tow truck and police blocking the right lane. So the backup is from east of Yonge in the Express. We may still have a crash on the ramp from the eastbound 401 to Ritson Road. It was quite a serious crash. An emergency crews are on the scene. Not sure if the ramp is closed. It's out of our camera range. So if you're going by and can see it, eastbound 401 would like to know if the ramp to Ritson Road is still closed or has it reopened. Our free traffic tip line starts 680. If you're traveling on the southbound 427, we've got a crash on the express ramp to the Gardner. The right lane is blocked by emergency crews. The backup right now is from Dundas and the Express. If I were you coming down the southbound 427, I'd get into the collectors. At the bottom of the collectors, there is a cutoff to get onto the eastbound Gardner. You'll save lots of extra time. Save big during Leon's Boxing Week sale. Save 60% on a pop-up sofa bed or up to 65% off Sealy mattresses. Plus, save big on TVs and appliances. Visit leons.ca. Your next traffic report at 7:41. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriacci.
Well, widespread
freezing rain warnings for southern Ontario. For the GTA, it's through Newmarket, Northern York region, southern Durham, Pickering, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, the north end of Halton, Peel, some of those higher elevations. We've seen some freezing precipitation already, and it's going to continue now as we move through this evening and overnight. In terms of the winds, they're getting stronger through the overnight out of the east and northeast, and this means that we could be dealing with power outages too as we get the ice accretion on the power lines and the tree branches, and then winds gusting anywhere from 50 to 80 an hour over the next couple of hours. And again, in through Monday morning and tomorrow morning, things aren't really wrapping up either. We're still going to see rain up to maybe 5 millimeters, drizzly conditions, and then a changeover to some flurries Monday night as we fall to lows near zero. Misty weather right now and +1 over at Pearson Airport. Your overnight low tonight is 1 degree.
Right now, downtown Toronto, 1 degree with some light drizzle. Over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions and 1 degree feeling like -5. 680 News Time, 7:33.
It's been a good day to stay indoors with a mix of cold, wet rain and even a bit of snow across the GTA.
680's Denise Andriacci's on the Weather Watch and has the details of what tomorrow's forecast brings for your morning commute.
A massive storm system has pushed into the Great Lakes. We have freezing rain warnings in effect through most of York and Durham region. Freezing rain is expected to continue tonight and into tomorrow morning. We could see up to 10 millimeters of ice accretion, and of course, it's not just the slippery conditions on the roads and the sidewalks and walkways, but also the ice accretion on tree branches and on power lines that could result in power outages across southern Ontario. Of course, areas outside the GTA, it looks like a greater threat of prolonged periods of freezing rain, but we still have that risk predominantly through northern York and Durham regions, but we still have the chance for the rest of the GTA to see a bit of freezing drizzle and ice pellets mixed in with all of this rain that's falling.
Environment Canada is advising drivers to be aware of the conditions and drive accordingly.
680 News Time, 7:34. The number of homicides continue to rise in the Toronto area. 680's Joel Keeney has more about today's incident.
Toronto police have identified the victim of the city's latest homicide as 26-year-old Koshin Yusuf. This is Toronto's 76th homicide of the year. Earlier this morning, around 3 a.m., the victim was approached by 2 suspects outside of a home near McCowan and Trudell Street. Police say the suspects drew their gun and fired multiple shots and fled the area. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone with information or any camera footage of this incident is asked to come forward and contact Toronto Police. I'm Joey Keeney.
680 News Time, 7:35. Toronto Police are still investigating a fatal shooting that happened in Etobicoke early Friday. 680's Caitlin Lee tells us detectives are asking for your help.
26-year-old Dominic Raval Kelly died in hospital on Friday after being rushed to a trauma center. Around 1 a.m., he was found injured inside his vehicle parked in the area of Eva Road and the West Mall. Police believe someone inside of a dark-colored 4-door SUV pulled up next to him, shooting Kelly multiple times and then driving off. Investigators are looking for witnesses or dash cam footage of the crime. They're appealing for anyone with information to come forward. I'm Caitlin Lee.
This is All News Radio 680 News. 2 more people have been sent to hospital with serious injuries in Toronto's East End. Early this morning in North York, the 2 victims were stabbed in the area of Wilson Avenue and Colson Boulevard close to Bathurst. Paramedics telling 680 News a male and female victim were transported from the scene to a trauma center. It happened before 10 this morning. Police say 1 person is now in custody.
680 News Time, 7:36. The suspect in the Hanukkah stabbing north of New York City has been identified or indicted as attacking 5 people. He pleaded not guilty today. He's accused of stabbing and wounding 5 people as they gathered at a rabbi's home to celebrate the annual occasion. ABC's Marcus Solis goes into more detail about the attack.
The suspect burst in amidst a Hanukkah celebration, a candle lighting celebration that was being held in the rabbi's home. About 60 people inside that home. The suspect took out a large knife from a case and then began swinging it, stabbing people. People started throwing objects trying to stop that attack. The suspect then tried to go into a synagogue next door, but the doors were locked, and then finally he drove off.
Keep them doors locked.
Police identified the suspect as Grafton E. Thomas of Greenwood Lake, New York. The stabbings come on the heels of a string of attacks targeting Jews in the region.
680 News Time, 7:37. Service Canada is looking at ways on how to better serve Canadians online. In an annual review of how well the government interacts with Canadians accessing federal benefits, research suggests that more people would be willing to use the internet if a real person was there to assist them. The report found that nearly half of people would switch if there was a phone contact, an online chat, or even a video link. The Service Canada review noted that barriers to applying online for benefits are psychological and emotional.
680 News Time, 7:37. MI6, the CIA, and KGB were the only spy services operating during the Cold War. The Canadian press reports that declassified RCMP records devised a secret Cold War plan to photograph communist and Soviet bloc officials traveling through Pearson International Airport. A member of the RCMP security and intelligence branch pitched the project in November of 1964 and created a special police squad that watched flights daily from 6 a.m. until the early hours of the morning.
That airport bar.
680 News Time, 7:38.
And the duty-free.
680 News.
They all have a side hustle. All these motherfuckers have a side hustle.
This is Moment Correction.
Oh, if you don't have a bit of dirt on you, people won't trust you. They take that to the
History
extreme.
was made when the Raptors won the NBA title. This city went wild.
The champion, baby. That's all that matters. The champion. We go!
Felt like there was a weight on my chest until the last second, and once it was gone, I just let out the biggest yell of my life. As you can tell by my voice, I've never felt so much stress and anxiety, but now that it's over, I've never felt so much happiness.
You waited 24 years? All my life? Let's go Raptors!
I've been waiting my whole life for
These people went and got free Raptors tattoos, eh?
But it was all worth it. All the stress, all the years of heartbreak, it was worth it for this moment.
Toronto is a beautiful example of multiculturalism. I love this city. I love what it represents. We got
A moment, a night, and a year most of us will never forget. With the year in review, I'm Moment Correction.
Still to come on 680 News, traffic and weather together on the ones. 680 News Time, 7:39.
We're two men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think two men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're two men and a truck. Two men and a truck, the movers who care.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Enpro predicts the price of gas will not change at midnight, holding at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTA stations. 680 News Time, 7:40.
Hi, it's Fido. Holiday deals are in full swing and the fun continues with Boxing Week. Keep the best gift for yourself. The brilliant iPhone XR at $0 on select 2-year plans. It's brilliant in every way, including the price.
Why everybody should just do it that way? That'd be simple. You
With
go get yourself what you want, and I'll give you
included
what I
on
want.
all new plans. Hurry up in store or at Fido.ca to discover more holiday deals. Conditions apply. Fido, go get it.
It's Boxing Week at Rona and Lowe's. Right now, get 5 times the Air Miles reward miles on purchases of $100 or more before tax. So if you forgot to get your loved ones those power tools they really wanted for Christmas, awesome! Or that electric fireplace they wished for,
You do really love me.
now you'll get 5 times the Air Miles reward miles with your purchase. Hurry into a Rona or Lowe's store to take advantage of this limited time Air Miles offer. Ends December 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Details in store.
680 News Time, 7:41. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Just collect Desjardins.
Thanks. And this traffic report is brought to you by Global Storing Network. If you're on the eastbound 401 at Bayview and the Express, we still have MTO blocking the right lane. We had a stalled tractor trailer on the right shoulder. The backup is from east of Yonge in the Express. Also, if you're traveling southbound on the 427, the express ramp to the Gardner, every everything has cleared, so all lanes are open, but the backup is from Dundas in the Express. Keep in mind as well, if you're getting around on city streets, we've got long-term construction that is closed. Commissioners both ways from Munition to the Don Roadway. And you'll find the Don Roadway is closed from Commissioners down to the Lakeshore. Again, that's for long-term construction until May 2020. Getting older, so is Jody Miller, one of America's hottest comics. Check out her podcast, Don't Call Me Ma'am, for some hilarious insights and stories. Visit globalstorynetwork.com. Your next traffic report is at 7:51. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriacci.
Overcast, gloomy, misty, and drizzly, a bit of everything in this quiet kind of section here of this stormy system, but we're still getting into freezing precipitation and more rain is on the way as we move through the evening and overnight. One of the big factors of this system overnight is going to be the winds and the gusts up to 80 kilometers an hour. Starting to see some wind warnings popping up across southwestern Ontario. Still have the freezing rain warnings in effect through most of York and Durham regions. It's misty right now at Pearson Airport, but with these gusty winds continuing overnight and more rain for Monday. Highs for Monday near +8, about an additional 5 millimeters of rain likely. A change over to some flurries Monday night as we get a little closer to the freezing mark. It's +1 right now downtown and at Pearson, and that's your overnight low today, +1.
BC firefighters will be packing their bags and heading to Australia tomorrow. They'll be the latest wave to help arrive from Canada and replace the crews who spent Christmas there.
The fires devastating New South Wales have killed 9 people and forced thousands of evacuations. BC firefighter Eric Antefeev has been in the region for the last month. He spent Christmas fighting fires in temperatures topping 40 degrees.
I'm happy to be here helping out, and the Australians were really hospitable, and we had some small celebrations here, and everyone was looking to make sure everyone was taken care of.
He says flying thousands of miles to pitch in is a way of returning a favor. Aussie firefighters came to BC in 2017 and 2018 during record-breaking wildfire seasons. I'm Lisa Stacy.
Our sports report in just 60 seconds. 680 News Time, 7:44. When it comes to building brand awareness, Nick DiDonato, president and CEO of Liberty Entertainment,
you need enough Russian to know who is sending me this message. I don't know why they're sending it to me. Fucking Russian.
Multiple restaurants and entertainment venues throughout Toronto. When we were
He's
awarded the
advertising the site.
best
Great.
restaurant opening in the world for Don Alfonso 1890, it was big international news. And what better way to get the news out to Toronto than going to 680 News?
and the marketing experts at 680 News are always on hand for professional guidance.
The team at 680 News understood what we wanted to accomplish and eloquently drafted up some commercials that really got the message out for us. Don Alfonso had arrived in Toronto. Our marketing campaign on 680 News was an overwhelming success.
And the secret of that success?
Consistency on message and frequency. So being on 680 News for a long period of time, delivering the message of our Michelin chef at Don Alfonso really worked. 680 News is the way to go.
Get 680 News working for you. Call 680 News Advertising at 416-935-NEWS.
No one's the only one to see is at the bottom of the page.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
Overcast
Why
and
does
feels
everybody
like
say that?
-7 in downtown Toronto. Good evening.
check on
The
Dan
680
Neal
News
about this
Broadcast
shit.
Center, Abby Dindababa, and here are the top stories this hour. Freezing rain, snow, things are getting messy this evening and into tomorrow's morning commute. Environment Canada has issued warnings for much of southern Ontario, forecasting ice pellets and snow transitioning into freezing rain by Monday morning. And Toronto police are now searching for 2 suspects after a fatal shooting in the city's East End. 26-year-old Koshin Youssef was killed at a community housing complex in Scarborough early this morning. Officers suspect he was approached by 2 male suspects, while descriptions have been released. 680 News Time, 7:45. Now, 680 Sports and Sportsnet. I'm Nani the Fan. Good evening, Colin Teskey.
Good evening, Eden. A big night for Fred VanVleet and the Raptors. VanVleet with 18 points as the Raptors lead the Oklahoma City Thunder after 3 quarters, 82-76. Also, shout out to Canadian Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing in Toronto. He's got 28 points. for the Thunder. You can watch that on Sportsnet 1. Meantime, final weekend in the NFL before the playoffs, and a couple of finals of note. The Philadelphia Eagles needed to go into New York and beat the Giants, and they would do just that, winning 34-17. Boston Scott, their running back, had 3 touchdowns in the victory. That means they wrap up the NFC East. The Cowboys are now going home. They are done for the season, even though they beat the Washington Redskins 47-16. The Titans secure the final seed in the AFC, being the Texans 35-14. A stunner for the New England Patriots. They lose to the Dolphins 27-24. That cost them a first-round bye in the playoffs. And on Sunday Night Football tonight, either the Seahawks or 49ers will win the NFC West. Loser gets Philadelphia next weekend in the playoffs. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, or anytime on the home of Tim and Sid on TV and radio. Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
680 News Time, 747.
Bodog.net wants to show you how to make a play this football season. When it feels like the whole country says no, you're asking why not. When everyone and their mother has the favorite, you're taking the underdog. When all of social media says, you got no chance, you say, I got this. When everyone says it can't be done, you're already planning to treat yourself. Don't miss a chance to make a play at Bodog.net, your source of free casino games, poker strategy, and live football odds.
Need window inspiration? Then you need to speak to the experts. Hi, I'm Tom Rokiki of Inline Fiberglass Windows and Doors. Our window experts are experienced in working with architects, builders, and homeowners to ensure your vision becomes a reality. So whether you're replacing your old windows or building your dream home, dream the dream with Inline Fiberglass. If you can dream it, we can build it. Visit our Factory Direct showroom, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or inlinefiberglass.com.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News. The CEO of a popular women's wear company has died. Jeremy Reitman, the CEO of Montreal-based company Reitmans, was the grandson of Reitman's founder, Herman and Sarah Reitman. According to an obituary on Paperman and Son, Reitman passed away peacefully in Florida, and a funeral is scheduled in Montreal on Thursday. The company operates 587 stores across Canada under 5 separate banners, including Reitman's, Pennington's, and Edition L. Over in Winnipeg, police say a murder charge has been laid in an investigation that began when a man allegedly walked into their headquarters on Friday afternoon. Officers say the man told them he'd killed a family member. EMS went to the home and found 54-year-old Ronaldo Ramirez dead with stab wounds. Constable Jay Murray says the investigators aren't disclosing the relationship between Ramirez and the accused, but say both men lived in the home.
Investigators have a pretty good idea of what happened in the residence. They don't necessarily have a great idea of why it happened, and that's something that will, I think, form part of the investigation that's still moving forward, and may come out when it eventually goes to court.
Murray says he's been told the accused was, quote, relatively calm when he was speaking with officers at the station. 31-year-old Miles Anthony Ramirez is charged with second-degree murder and remains in custody. Now over to the States, where 2 people were killed in a shooting at a church near Fort Worth, Texas this morning. The 2 people were fatally shot at the West Freeway Church of Christ in the city of White Settlement. A 3rd person has been taken to hospital in critical condition. Fort Worth Fire Department official Mike Dribdal says it's a sad day in the state.
A very tragic day when anybody in our community suffers, whether it's a community that's next to Fort Worth or in Fort Worth itself. Our hearts and prayers go out to all the families that were affected by this incident.
Texas was the scene of another church shooting in November of 2017 when a gunman opened fire at a church in Sutherland Springs, killing more than 24 worshipers. Coming up in just 60 seconds, traffic and weather together on the ones. 680 News Time, 750.
At Mazda, we believe if something ends, it's really the beginning of something new. So as this year ends, begin a new journey in a new Mazda with available iActive all-wheel drive at the Mazda year-end event. Right now, you can receive 0% purchase financing on select models, or up to a $1,500 year-end event bonus on other select Mazdas. Plus, Mazda's unlimited mileage warranty. Hurry in. The Mazda year-end event is over January 2nd. Visit your Mazda dealer or Mazda.ca today.
Some savings are too big to fit into 5, like Subway's Box
Boxing Week sale, where you can save up to 40% on all-inclusive vacations at top-rated resorts. Save big now, so this winter you can vacation better with our best price guaranteed. But hurry, Boxing Week deals this hot will be flying off the shelf. Book by January 3rd with your travel agent or 680 News Time, 7:51. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette and
Skip
Jardin.
the story
And
about the
despite the
black
rain, we're
kid
not
getting
doing too
jumped by
badly on the main
TTC.
highways around the GTA right now. This report brought to you by Marquis Jewelers. If you're on the southbound 427, the express ramp to the Gardner, everything has cleared, but we still have a backup from approaching Queensway in the express, so we're watching that closely. Another problem we have is on the eastbound 401. Just trying to get that here on my computer. And right now, eastbound 401 from Bayview, it's at Bayview in the express. We've got a tow truck blocking the right lane. So the backup right now is from east of Yonge in the express. We may still have problems on the ramp from eastbound 401 to Ritson Road. The ramp was blocked because of a crash. If you can update us, please do. Our free traffic tip line is star 680. Marquis Jewelers are closing in 2020. You can get up to 70% off select merchandise during their great sale event on now. They're located at 2 Bloor Street West inside the Cumberland Terrace. Your next traffic report is at 8:01. Right now, let's get the extended forecast. Here's Denise Andriachi.
Well, more rain and freezing precipitation for the GTA tonight, even though we're seeing more of a light drizzle now and misty overcast conditions across many pockets of the Greater Toronto region. We're still under this threat for more active weather. The storm, the system is massive and it's affecting us all night tonight with strong east winds up to 60, 70, even 80 kilometer per hour gusts. Tomorrow, still some showers and drizzle up to 5 millimeters possible, likely changing to some flurries Monday night as we see highs near 8 degrees through tomorrow during the day, and then by nighttime about 0. So that change over to flurries likely, and then flurries expected for most of the day on Tuesday, kind of scattered throughout the day, about a trace to 2, maybe 3 centimeters. Light drizzle at Pearson and +1. The overnight low rather is +1.
Coming up at 8 o'clock, we'll keep you updated on the messy weather hitting the city, and we'll also have the latest on a homicide investigation into a Toronto community housing complex shooting. 680 News Time, 7:53.
2 weeks and 800 websites later, I finally found it. The perfect holiday gift for our daughter.
Really?
Yep, toe socks.
Toe socks?
Yeah, socks with toes. Every toe's a different color.
Bob, did you check We.org?
We what?
We.org. They have so many gifts. You can give a donation, buy chocolate, beautiful jewelry, and they all change lives.
Oh, I missed the site.
Bob, leave the gifts to me.
Oh, okay.
This holiday, gift good. Shop, donate at we.org.
When a winter storm hits, the 680 News Extreme Weather Center jumps into action. Your trusted source when you need to know. With the latest forecast, delays on your commute, and whether schools are open or closed. The 680 News Extreme Weather Center. Brought to you by Subaru, Confidence in Motion, and Air Transat. Vacation is calling. Exclusively on 680 News and 680news.com.
No one was hurt, but about 70 residents of the seniors building are being left homeless after an early morning fire. The fire took place in Trois-Pistel, about 250 kilometers northeast of Quebec City. Police aren't ruling out arson and say experts are still investigating. And closer to home, skaters braved the cold this afternoon in Toronto for a good cause. The second annual Brentway Polar Bear Skate took place this afternoon with a number of skaters participating. The Brentway collecting clean and gently used adult winter clothing as donations in support of the city's most vulnerable. The event was in partnership with Project Comfort, and all donations were given to local 24-hour emergency respite centers. This is 680 News. Coming up in just 60 seconds, our weekend business report. 680 News Time, 7:55.
License 10349. It's a slap in the face. Your bank refused your mortgage. Don't get mad. Call Northwood Mortgage. Northwood Mortgage takes a closer look at your financial picture. Property equity, past record, the promise of performance, and more. Northwood Mortgage does everything they can to approve the mortgage you need. That's their business. Visit NorthwoodMortgage.com.
Mercedes-Benz Oakville year-end winter sales event is on now. For a limited time, enjoy exceptional offers such as lease rates from 1.49%, finance rates from 0.49%, cash support up to $25,000, and 3 payments waived on us on select in-stock models. Plus, receive a special bonus offer with purchase available only at Mercedes-Benz Oakville. Visit our showroom today at the QEW and Dorval Drive in Oakville and use these generous offers to gift yourself a Mercedes-Benz this holiday season.
680 News Time, 7:56. Now time for the 680 News Weekend Business Report.
I'm Richard Denman. Does 2020 have you thinking about changing jobs or taking stock of why you're happy with your current position? Those are some of the topics Staffing Giant Hayes Canada asked in its annual survey of 3,000 employers and staff. Company President Rowan O'Grady is on the line. What are employees looking for in a job, and what are employers willing to offer?
The number one thing is career progression. Number two is salary. Very, very close behind career progression, but it is second. And then third, it's about company culture. The advice we always give to employers is, when it comes to salary, there's only one company pays the most, and probably not for long. So if your only strategy is we're just going to pay more than everybody else, good luck, because someone else will pay more than you suddenly.
You say career progression is the top factor, but not everyone's chosen to rise up an organization's ladder.
For a lot of companies, career progression means I have to promote this person and pay them more and they move up the corporate ladder. But for people, a lot of people, what they say career progression means is, did I learn something new? Am I being challenged? Am I working on new kinds of projects? Am I being given different responsibilities? They just want to learn things and feel like they're progressing themselves professionally. Maybe that isn't a promotion, and often it isn't. And I think there's a gap between what employers think that means and what people really, really want.
And what about employees' desire for work-life balance?
The vast majority of companies, and particularly the good employers, recognize that there's a lot of pressure and demands on people's lives. They have lives outside of work. They need to manage both somehow, and they need flexibility and understanding. Our advice, and we're an employer as well. Hayes employs 300 people in Canada. Our approach and the advice that we give to our clients is, you've got to understand that. You've got to be flexible and trust people, but you also have to have a high expectation of results from people.
Hayes Canada President Rowan O'Grady. In the Business Centre, I'm Richard Denman.
Wow, it's late. I should go. I have class tomorrow. I know I've been drinking, but I don't want to take the bus alone. I think I'm okay to drive, and my car's outside. Maybe I'll just...
Safety concerns discourage women from taking public transportation after drinking instead of driving. Hey, Jesse, we've both been drinking. Let's share a cab. You can crash at my place. Drunk driving is a woman's issue, too. Learn how to reduce the risk at changetheconversation.ca.
OFX, our global money transfer specialist, is helping people and businesses thrive in a fast-moving and evolving world. Whether you're a business looking to enter the global marketplace, a son or daughter sending money to family back home, or a retiree dreaming of an exotic next chapter, transact across borders with confidence. OFX combines a streamlined digital experience, 24/7 human support, and competitive rates. It's how the world moves money. More at OFX.com.
In Brampton, overcast 1 degree. Hamilton, cloudy skies and 2. Mississauga, seeing some cloud cover as well, 2 degrees. Up in Oakville, overcast 3 degrees. And right now in downtown Toronto, light rain and 1. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. 680 News Time, 8 o'clock.
Exactly.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic,
Totally skipped the part about the black kid getting drunk by the runabout. They said it after everything crashed.
And I'm meeting together. Here's what's making
Sometimes
news this hour.
Cold, wet weather continues with the freezing rain warning in effect for southern Ontario. Toronto police are searching for 2 suspects following the city's 76th homicide of the year.
Expect to break that New Year's resolution. One expert says the problem is most of us are wired emotionally to stay the same.
The victim of a fatal shooting in Etobicoke Friday has been identified as a 26-year-old Toronto man. Police is still searching for suspects.
Raptors trying to grind out another win against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The final weekend of the NFL's regular season, and the Sunday Night Football matchup will decide the NFC West. Sports at 15.
And coming up in business, a look at one of the top stories of the year, a rough ride for the cannabis stocks. We speak to an analyst about what went wrong and where we go from here.
680 News Time, 8:01.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks, Tim. And this report brought to you by Markville Toyota. Eastbound 401 still have problems at Bayview in the Express. The right lane is blocked because of a stalled tractor trailer. The backup right now is from Young in the Express. And thanks to traffic spotters letting us know that the ramp from the eastbound 401 to Ritson, we had a crash on that ramp. It was closed, but everything has cleared. The ramp is open. Don't forget as well on the eastbound 401 east of Brock Street, we've got the left lane blocked, all because of pothole repairs, and they're hoping that they'll be able to fix it at some point this week. Right now, southbound 427, the express ramp to the Gardner is cleared. There was quite the backup on that ramp, but everything is clear now. The drive is back up to speed. Commissioners, that is closed both ways from Munition to the Don Roadway, and you'll find the Don Roadway is closed from Commissioners down to the Lakeshore for long-term construction, which will be over, believe it or not, May 16, 2020. Right now at Markville Toyota, get cash saving incentives up to $8,000 on select models. It's time to Toyota at Markville Toyota, Highway 7, just east of McCowan. Your next traffic report is at 8:11. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriocchi.
We still have some freezing rain warnings in effect because the active weather is lingering through the evening and the overnight. So still that threat for freezing precipitation. The wind's getting gustier through the late evening and overnight. We still have some light drizzle right now over at Pearson. We're sitting at +1. Overnight lows near about +1, and the winds gusting to about 60, 70, even 80 km/h gusts into Monday morning, where we'll see highs near about +8 with about 5 more millimeters of rain, and then a change over to flurries Monday night as we fall to lows near 0. Your overnight low tonight near +1.
Right now in downtown Toronto, overcast 1 degree, but feeling like -7 with the wind chill, and at Pearson Airport, light rain and 1. 680 News Time, 8:03.
Toronto police have released the name of the 26-year-old man killed in an early morning shooting.
680's Joey Keeney reports on the homicide investigation.
Toronto police are searching for 2 suspects following a deadly shooting at a Toronto community housing complex early this morning. The victim has been identified as 26-year-old Koshin Yusuf. Investigators believe he was approached by 2 people outside a property at McCowan and Trudell Street around 3 a.m. this morning. Suspects opened fire and then fled. Police are urging anyone with information or CCTV and dashcam footage of the incident to come forward. I'm Joey Keeney.
680 News Time, 8:04. Police have also identified the victim of Friday's homicide in Etobicoke. 680's Caitlin Lee reports.
26-year-old Dominic Ramal Kelly was shot and killed just before 1 a.m. Friday near Eva Road and the West Mall. Investigators believe Kelly was parked in front of a residence when a dark-colored SUV pulled up next to him, and the suspect or suspects in the SUV fired multiple shots and fled. Officers found Kelly suffering from gunshot wounds. He was rushed to hospital, but was later pronounced dead. The homicide unit is asking for anyone with information or footage of the incident to come forward. I'm Caitlin Lee.
680 News Time, 8:04. An early morning stabbing has sent 2 people to hospital in North York. Toronto police were called to the area of Wilson and Collinson near Bathurst just before 10. Paramedics told 680 News that one of the victims was a male, the other female, and both have since been transported for treatment at a local trauma center. The injuries are believed to be serious. One person is now in custody in connection with the altercation. It's believed that no other suspects are outstanding.
680 News Time, 8:05. Environment Canada has issued freezing rain warnings for much of southern Ontario, with heavy rain forecasted to continue falling through the overnight hours. All that precipitation could make for a slippery commute tomorrow morning. 680 weather specialist Denise Andriocchi joins us now with a rundown of the wet and chilly forecast.
The impacts are pretty widespread. We have a lot of rain across the province of Ontario, but of course the wind and the freezing precipitation are the biggest threats with this system. It's huge and it's long-lasting, and tomorrow we're still dealing with more rainy weather and very, very strong winds. Temperatures are going to fall closer to the freezing mark by Monday night, so we're going to see a changeover from rain to possibly some flurries. The winds are really gusty, and after midnight tonight, Be prepared for wind gusts up to 80 kilometers an hour. So you have to think all of that ice accretion on the power lines and those tree branches, and then winds gusting between 50 and 80 kilometers per hour. Just make sure that you're prepared. We may have power outages overnight and into early Monday morning.
Environment Canada is urging drivers to be cautious of icy road conditions.
680 News Time, 8:06. After his first year at the helm of the Toronto Transit Commission, Rick Leary says the TTC's New Year's resolution is to fight racial bias in 2020. Those comments following an Ombudsman report that found that several flaws in the way the TTC investigated the forceful detention of a black teen by fare inspectors, as well as the Toronto Star investigation that raised concerns that black riders are disproportionately issued warnings and tickets for alleged fare evasion. The TTC has since introduced internal anti-bias training and is reviewing its hiring practices to ensure it has a more diverse workforce.
680 News Time, 8:07. Canada will look to shake off one of the country's worst losses at the World Hockey Junior Tournament. As Sportsnet 590 The Fans show Ali reports, the team can breathe a sigh of relief on the injury front.
After a 6-0 loss to the Russians at the World Juniors, Canada got a bit of good news this morning. An MRI determined that star winger Alexis Lafreniere had suffered no fractures or ligament tears to his left knee. There is still hope that he returns later in the tournament. He has not been ruled out, but Canada will be without him for at least their next game. Every team in Group B currently has 1 point, so Canada needs a win to keep pace, as the winner of today's Russia-USA match will be the clubhouse leader ahead of Monday's game against Germany. That one goes at 9 a.m. Eastern. For Sportsnet 590 The Fan, I'm Show Ali.
Most New Year's resolutions seem to fail. 680's Jim Benny is finding out why it's so difficult to carry them out.
Dr. Joe Dispenza is author of Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. He says 95% of who we are is a memorized state of being. When people try to change, they use 5% of their conscious mind to go against that 95% of what they've memorized.
By the time we're 35, we reach a certain point in our life where we become a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, beliefs, and perceptions that run like a subconscious program.
He says change feels uncomfortable, and that causes most people to give up trying at exactly the wrong time. I'm Jim Benny.
680 News Time, 8:08. New York Police Chief Brad Weidel says the suspect in the Hanukkah stabbing in the nearby community of Muncie is in custody and has been charged. He pleaded not guilty today. Weidel says the assailant stabbed and wounded 5 people as they gathered at a rabbi's home to celebrate the 7th night of Hanukkah.
He will be facing 5 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of burglary first degree.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau offering his condolences this morning, saying we must come together to end these acts of violence. Halton Police also extending its best wishes.
The CEO of a popular Canadian women's wear company has now died. According to an obituary on Paperman and Sons, Jeremy Reitman, the grandson of Reitman founders Herman and Sarah Reitman, passed away peacefully in Florida. The announcement was made today, and the funeral is scheduled for Thursday in Montreal. The company operates 587 stores across Canada under 5 separate banners, including Reitman's, Pennington's, and Additional.
So to come on 680 News to check on the price of the pumps and traffic and weather together on the ones. 680 News Time, 8:09.
This is Toronto's 680 News. 24-hour gaming excitement awaits you at Casino Ajax. Test your luck on over 900 of your favorite slot machines and 50 electronic table games. We have daily dining specials from 4 to 11 p.m. at spectacular prices, including T-bone steak on Wednesdays, prime rib and 2 lobster tails on Thursdays and Fridays, or shrimp and steak on Sundays. Must be 19 plus. Winner Circle Rewards membership required. If you gamble, play smart. Casino Ajax.
Now the 680 News gas price update. And Pro predicts the price of gas is going to stay the same at midnight, holding at $1.19.9 a liter at most of the GTA stations. 680 News Time, 8:10.
Missed out on Black Friday bargains? Don't worry. Hi, I'm Sean from New Balance Toronto, and we're gearing up for our Boxing Day blowout. From December 26th to January 12th, we're giving you the best prices of the year. Save up to 50% off footwear, apparel, and accessories. With deals like these, it's the perfect time to try something new or just stock up on the styles you love. New Balance Toronto, your fit specialist for 19 years. Some conditions apply. See store for details.
Local radio is awesome. Every day it connects millions of Canadians to their communities with local news, traffic, and weather, local sports, entertainment, and events. But don't just take my word for it. There's also my mom.
Hello.
My sister and her kids.
Hi.
My buddy Dave around the corner.
Yo!
The guys in my neighborhood pizza place.
Hey!
My coworkers.
Hey, how's it going?
My local taxi driver.
Hey,
Even weird Uncle Andy.
Go on, pull my finger.
Yeah. Local radio. It's where you live.
For more information, visit rogersmedia.com/radio.
City News Time 8:11. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
And this report brought to you by Markville Toyota. If you're traveling right now on the eastbound 401 at Bayview and the Express, so we've got a stalled tractor trailer. It's on the right shoulder, but a tow truck is blocking the right lane. The backup is from Young in the Express, and the ramp from eastbound 401 to Ritson Road. Everything has cleared. Don't forget, if you're in the Whitby area, eastbound 401, east of Brock Street, we've got the left lane blocked because of pothole repairs. MTO says that later this week it should be repaired. I was just having a look at the westbound Gardner. Everything is moving quite well, even through the construction zone, where it's down to 2 lanes both ways between York and the Don Valley Parkway. The QEW at last check was wide open. Haven't noticed any delays or any problems, so that's good news. Now, we did have a problem on the ramp from southbound 427. It was the express ramp to the Gardner. That has cleared and traffic is back up to speed. Right now at Markville Toyota, get cash saving incentives up to $8,000 on select models. It's time to Toyota at Markville Toyota, Highway 7, just east of McCowan. Your next traffic report is at 8:21, but right now let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriachi.
Steady light rain, strong winds, and freezing precipitation all unfolding tonight across the GTA and southern Ontario. Freezing rain warnings through York and Durham region. We could see 10 to 15 millimeters of ice accretion by the time it's all said and done. Periods of rain and drizzle are continuing for Monday, an additional 5 millimeters of rain, but also even stronger winds, especially along Lake Ontario. Tomorrow, gusts up to 80 kilometers an hour through the overnight and early Monday morning. Highs on Monday near +8. Your overnight low tonight, +1.
Right now, downtown Toronto, 1 degree with some light drizzle. Over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions and 1 degree. Still to come on 6 City News, a list of your top stories and sports. 6 City News Time, 8:13.
Let's consider for a moment some internet holiday deals you might want to think about. Uranium ore, Madagascar hissing cockroaches, an umbrella hat, or how about a great holiday deal you don't have to think about, like the Bring Home a Honda event. Lease the redesigned 2020 Honda CR-V LX from just $90 weekly at 4.99% and 0 down. Includes free lease for 60 months. Taxes extra OAC. See HondaOntario.com. Bring Home a Honda. No thinking required. We're 2 men and a truck. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks. Whether you're planning to move to a new home or to a new office down the hall, big or small, we move them all. We even sell packing and moving supplies. But no matter what you need, we'll do it with a smile. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. So when you're planning your next move, call 2 men and a truck. 2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
This is All News Radio, 680 News. It's 1 degree with some drizzle. Good evening from the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. I'm Tim Chapman. Here are the top stories this hour. Cold, wet weather today, and Environment Canada issuing a freezing rain warning for much of the southern Ontario that could impact your commute tomorrow morning. Police are on the hunt for 2 shooters who allegedly murdered 26-year-old Koshin Yusuf. Police say Yusuf was shot and killed outside of property at McCowan and Truebell Streets around 3 a.m. Meanwhile, police continue to look for a suspected shooter in a black 4-door SUV that allegedly pulled up beside 26-year-old Dominic Ramal Kelly and opened fire. Kelly was sitting inside his car in the area of Eva Road and the West Mall when the shooting happened. And coming up after sports, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker has scored another winning weekend. 680 News Time, 8:15. Now 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Colin Pesky.
Happening right now, the Raptors and Thunder going down to the wire in the final 30 seconds at Scotiabank Arena. Is the Thunder ahead 98-97. They have just grabbed a rebound. The Raptors now forced to foul to extend this game. Canadian Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 32 points to lead the Thunder, as the Raptors have just fouled Chris Paul now, who will likely be able to shoot some free throws to end this game. 98-97 the score for Oklahoma City. Coming up in a matter of minutes, this game will decide the NFC West as the Seahawks taking on the 49ers. The loser will face Philadelphia in round one of the playoffs next week. And Philly went into New York and beat the Giants today 34-17 to win the NFC East. That means the Cowboys are going home despite defeating the Washington Redskins 47-16. Meantime, the Tennessee Titans also going to the postseason. They beat the Texans 35-14, and they wrap up the final seed. In the AFC, the Patriots will not get a bye to the second round. They lost to the Dolphins 27-24. Sports 15 and 45 past every hour, or anytime on the home of Tim and Sid on TV and radio. Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
680 News Time, 8:16.
Have you heard? TSC is celebrating Boxing Day every day from now until New Year's Eve. That means you can take advantage of the biggest markdowns of the year whenever you want without ever going outside. Save up to 65% on clearance items, including fashion, jewelry, beauty, and home products. Plus all of
If you don't die, you probably don't make the radio. And even if you do, you might not get your story repeated every hour. 2 people stabbed in North York. That's the whole headline. 2 people stabbed in North York. Toronto police, nobody died. And there's nobody wanted. Toronto police are investigating a double stabbing in a North York neighborhood. Police tweeted at around 10:04 a.m. That's pretty specific. Around 10:04. Sunday that they had been called to the Wilson Avenue and Collinson Boulevard area for a report of a stabbing. 2 people were found with serious injuries at the scene. Police said they have 1 person in custody and they are not looking for any other suspects. That's it. And the story just goes away. And you know, I will not ever find out what the ending of this story is, but you could get stabbed the fuck up in this city real quick. People aren't fucking around, eh? So I don't know the details, but they don't tell us nothing. But sometimes people get fucking way out of line on people that don't have any patience, and everybody standing there gets hurt. It's fucking insane, but that's what happens. Everybody standing next to you, hanging with you, gets fucking hurt.
.680 News Time, 8:18. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker scored another winning weekend.
Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker's spot atop the box office was essentially unchallenged over the holidays. It pocketed another $72 million or so its second weekend out, bumping its domestic gross to $361.8 million, only slightly behind where The Last Jedi was at this point 2 years ago.
I intend to make my own way in the world.
Little Women fared best of the Christmas Day releases, a third-place debut as the holiday weekend winds down. Christopher Watson, ABC News.
680 News Time, 8:19. Tuesday will be the end of the line for Montreal's horse-drawn carriage industry. The gentle draft horses that pull carriages through the cobblestone streets of Old Montreal are being banned because of concerns over animal welfare and a series of incidents involving the horses that sparked outrage. Montreal City Councillor Sterling Downey says horse-drawn carriages belong in the past.
With heat waves in the summer, with climate change, with extreme colds in the winter, with construction on the road.
That's a this whole non sequitur,
Animal safety is that we have a serious question on the animal safety.
But others say it's a tragic loss of a piece of the city's heritage. A group of callous drivers and owners failed earlier this month to get an emergency injunction to overturn the ban. Coming up,
keep your property rights over your animal, but you can't have your animal in the park making money.
Being right matters.
So if our weather forecast is off by more than 3 degrees,
You could win cash.
details at 680news.com.
Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital would like to thank Goodman & Associates Chartered Professional Accountants for sponsoring this message. Shouldn't every Canadian see themselves represented in advertising? 22% of Canadians live with a disability, so let's agree right now to include them in the picture. Sign Holland Bloorview's Dear Everybody agreement at deareverybody.ca. A message from Goodman & Associates Chartered Professional Accountants, 45 St. Clair Avenue West, Toronto.
When you need to know now.
680news.com.
It's year-end. Time to award yourself a performance bonus. During their year-end sell-down, lease a 2019 Q7 SUV from 1.98% for 48 months. Plus, receive up to $5,000 in Audi event credits and a 5-year, 80,000-kilometer maintenance plan. Quattro all-wheel drive performance. Bonus offers. Reward yourself at the all-new Audi Queensway and AudiQueensway.ca. Drive well. Drive safe.
News time 8:21. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks, and this report is brought to you by Salvation Army Thrift Store. All the major routes, despite this rain that we're getting and possibly freezing rain as well, we're actually not bad at all on the main highways around the GTA. With the basketball game over, we're going to have a lot of fans leaving and heading home, so the streets around Scotiabank are going to be actually quite busy right now. If you're on the eastbound 401 at Bayview in the Express, we've got a stalled tractor trailer. It's off on the right shoulder, but we've got a tow truck that's blocking the right lane. So that's creating a bit of a slowdown and backup from Yonge in the Express. Don't forget, if you're on the eastbound 401, east of Rock Street in the Whitby area, yes, we've been talking about it all week. We've got pothole repairs taking up the left lane. Hopefully that will be repaired this week. The rest of the highway is in pretty good shape now. If you're getting around on city streets, we've got some construction. So Commissioners, which is both ways on Commissioners, that's closed from Munition to the Don Roadway, and you'll find the Don Roadway is closed from Commissioners to the Lakeshore. It's all because of long-term construction. By donating your gently used clothing and household items, you're not just supporting community programs, you're contributing to a greener community. Go green and give to the Salvation Army Thrift Store today. Your next traffic report is at 8:31. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriacci.
Well, we still have some freezing rain warnings in effect. We're sort of in a dry pocket of this system, but there's still a lot more on the way. And so these freezing rain warnings are not going to be dropped just quite yet. And for the rest of the GTA, if you're not in York Durham region, still there's chance of a bit of freezing drizzle as we move through the rest of tonight and overnight. The wind's getting really strong as well, up to 80-kilometer-per-hour gusts possible, especially for areas bordering Lake Ontario. Periods of rain and drizzle overnight and through the day on Monday, where we are going to be really mild. We're getting a push of this mild air with this warm system coming in from the south. Highs near 8 degrees, possibly about another 5 millimeters, and then temps will start to fall by Monday night. We see a change over to flurries as we hit lows near the freezing mark. Your overnight low tonight, +1.
Right now downtown, 1 degree with some light drizzle, and over at Pearson Airport, some light rain and 1 degree as well. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, the latest on a freezing rain warning and 2 ongoing shooting investigations in the GTA. 680 News Time, 8:23.
It's cold outside.
If you've ever been behind the wheel of an Audi, you know how comfortable, exciting, and advanced they are. And your dealership should reflect that. At Audi Mississauga and Audi Brampton, our expert staff make you feel at ease. We've the technology to support any Audi service and a selection to put a smile on your face. Visit our convenient locations in the GTA. Audi Mississauga at Mavis Road in the 401, or Audi Brampton in the 410 Major
real,
Mall.
the radar maps, all that shit. I just don't think the other people are.
Part of the
Media outlets give a fuck if they tell us the truth or not.
With 680 News, latest on road closures, events, and everything you need to know.
Just stay relaxed.
This is 680 News.
680 News Time, 8:24. A popular Hollywood actor's been hospitalized with a life-threatening infection while filming a new TV series in Papua New Guinea before the holidays. Zac Efron reportedly contracted an illness and was flown to a hospital in Brisbane, Australia, and that's according to the Australian Associated Press. The 32-year-old actor is recovering and is believed that he came in contact with a form of typhoid similar to a bacterial infection. The Sunday Telegraph reports that Efron was filming the show Killing Zac Efron. He's now in stable condition and was given the okay to fly home to the United States. Coming up in just 60 seconds, your weekend business report. 680 News Time, 8:25.
Dear everybody, you'll see thousands of images today. Here are 3 you won't see.
A girl who uses a walker eating ice cream with her friends.
A young woman with a prosthetic leg modeling the latest denim trends.
A kid who uses a wheelchair busting a dance move.
You're influenced by the images you see. and the ones you don't.
Right
It's
now,
time to include
Weather
disability
Outlet.
in the
Thank you.
picture. Sign Holland Bloorview's Dear
that's not what I
Everybody
want.
agreement and help create a world without stigma for kids and youth with disabilities. Visit deareverybody.ca.
Good day, passengers. Debo Brown speaking here. I need you to return your seat to the upright position and definitely fasten your seatbelt. Because Manifest is back on City TV. City TV's #1 new drama from last year is back for another thrilling season and a ton of new questions. Who's really behind the disappearance of Flight 828? And whoa, what happened off screen at the end of last season's finale? So many questions. But the captain has informed me I'm out of time. Manifest Season 2 arrives on time, January 6th on City TV.
City News Time, 8:26. Now the 6 City News Weekend Business Reports.
I'm Chris McCusker. One of the top business stories this year, the pot stocks. It was a bumpy ride and pretty volatile from one day to the next. In the summer,
all
one
venture
cannabis producer,
capitalist money.
CanTrust, was cited by
Laundered
Health
by
Canada for
drug
growing
dealers
pot
and
in
casinos.
unlicensed rooms. So, was that the start of the problems? Matt Bottomley is equity research analyst at Canaccord Genuity.
I don't think that's really where problems started. I think that is maybe not a one-off example, but one of a limited number of examples in the market that is strictly based on poor execution or certainly a huge lapse in judgment and following with the regulations. I really think the rubber hitting the road, as I like to say, of all the infrastructure being rolled out or lack thereof, meaning retail stores and capacity with producers. I think that the writing was a little bit on the wall with respect to there being bumps.
And we can look at the 25 stores in Ontario as it stands today versus the hundreds in Alberta.
Oh, absolutely. It's something where, we anticipate, just based on population, Ontario is going to be around 40%, maybe a little bit more of the overall market opportunity. And those metrics you gave are bang on. I mean, a lot of these producers in their last, their Q3 results that came out towards the end of November, that was the common theme. And everyone's hoping that sort of the expedited process in the new year of getting more stores in Ontario is actually going to be a big catalyst, positive catalyst for the sector.
So will the so-called
Well, maybe
Cannabis
a catalyst
2.0
is-
help the companies become
it's
profitable anytime
part of-
soon?
I think there's going to
Aside
be
from that, how the
unforeseen
fuck is having more
challenges that will
stores
probably
gonna
push
sell
up
more weed?
profitability longer than people are anticipating. But if you look at this market on a sort of 2 to 5 year window, I
Can't
think
sell
there's
what
going
I
to be
got.
a lot of
I'm
success
gonna open up more
stories.
locations.
Matt
What the fuck are you
Bottomley is
talking about?
equity research analyst at Canaccord Genuity.
Why
With the
isn't this
business
working?
year in review, I'm Chris McCusker.
First, your disability insurer denies your long-term disability claim, and then your employer threatens to fire you if you don't return to work. Sound familiar? My name is Aaron Waxman, and if your disability insurer denies your disability claim for any reason, or if your employer threatens to fire you because you're too sick to work, call me at 416-661-4878. And don't worry about upfront legal fees, because there are none. At my law firm, we only get paid when you get paid. And before you call, you should always remember that there are no bad questions. 416-661-4878, or on your cell phone at pound LTD. Bodog.net wants to show you how to make a play this football season. When it feels like the whole country says no, you're asking why not. When everyone and their mother has the favorite, you're taking the underdog. When all of social media says, you got no chance, you say, I got this. When everyone says it can't be done, you're already planning to treat yourself. Don't miss a chance to make a play at Bodog.net, your source of free casino games, poker strategy, and live football odds.
Poker strategy and live football odds.
Now with your business at Travelers
Well, now
forecast,
St.
Vancouver
Angels sets up
possible drizzle 6
An
degrees,
online
Ottawa
casino.
possible
They're
light
breaking the
snow
law
and
because they're in
-1.
Canada.
Montreal overcast and -2. St.
You can go
John's
from
windy
anywhere
and
else in the
overcast
world,
and
and Canadians
-1.
can use it.
Dallas a clear
This is
sky
shit.
and
It's
8
all
degrees. Chicago overcast and -1. Atlanta a clear sky and 9 degrees. In Orlando, overcast and 23. Miami, 24 is the high.
This province, the
Washington,
government,
D.C., a
this
clear
country,
sky
the
and
government wants
13.
every penny from
Right
gambling.
now, downtown Toronto, 1 degrees with some light drizzle. 6 City News is CFTR AM Toronto. Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day and always be in the know. And find out how to hear us on your smart speakerphone or HD radio at 6citynews.com/listen. 6 City News time, 8:30.
#1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Good evening. This is Sunday, December the
Nobody's gonna tell
29th.
me
I'm
anything
Susan
about
Brabham.
I'm Tim Chapman. Here's what's making news this hour.
Environment Canada has put out freezing rain warnings for much of southern Ontario.
The victim of a fatal shooting in Etobicoke Friday has been identified as a 26-year-old Toronto man. Police is still searching for suspects.
Toronto police are searching for 2 suspects following the city's 76th homicide of the year. More Canadian firefighters will be traveling down under to help fight devastating wildfires.
A historic night for Canadian shy Gilgis Alexander as the Thunder eked out a win against the Raptors. We're underway on Sunday Night Football. Seahawks 49ers winner against the NFC West. Sports 45.
And coming up in business, we're looking at how today's consumers are being influenced by the experience rather than traditional marketing techniques, fueling sales and performance through emotions.
City News Time, 8:31.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks in this report brought to you by the Air Miles Reward Program. Eastbound 401, finally, that tractor trailer that was stalled was towed out of there at Bayview in the expressway. Everything is cleared and traffic is back up to speed. We've got the pothole repairs on the eastbound 401 east of Brock Street. The left lane is blocked. The Gardner, the Dow Valley Parkway, moving well into and out of the downtown core, but I'm watching it closely because the Raptor fans are heading home. So streets around the Scotiabank Center are very busy at this moment, especially on the lakeshore. So I'll be watching those routes, the Gardner and the lakeshore, as Raptor fans head home. The QEW, that's wide open right now between Burlington and the Mississauga area. It's Boxing Week at Rona and Lowe's. Get 5 times the Air Miles Reward miles on purchases of $100 or more before tax. Ends December 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Details in store. The next report at 8:41, but right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise and Geraci.
Light drizzle, light showers, and freezing precipitation all for this evening and overnight. The winds also a huge factor in this storm system that's moving across the province, bringing very strong gusts up to about 60 to 80 kilometers an hour. We still have freezing rain warnings in effect for much of southern Ontario. Those are going to drop because even if we're in a bit of a dry pocket right now, where it's a bit more scattered in terms of the active weather, behind it there is some more steady, consistent periods of freezing rain and the light showers and rain that we've been seeing across much of the GTA as well today. Overnight tonight and into Monday morning, the winds will continue to howl. We'll see another 5 millimeters of rain likely, changing over to some flurries for Monday night. It's going to be warm briefly tomorrow, highs near about +8, and then we'll fall to lows near 0. That's when we see the change over to some flurries. +1 right now at Pearson Airport. Your overnight low is 1 degree.
Right now, downtown Toronto, 1 degree with some light drizzle. Over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions and 1 degree. 6 City News Time, 8:33.
Freezing rain warnings have been issued by Environment Canada for most parts of southern Ontario. Heavy rain is expected overnight into the early morning hours.
That weather could make for a difficult commute for drivers. 6 Cities weather specialist Denise Andriacci has more on what you can expect.
We also have this threat for snowfall on Tuesday. So the area of low pressure, slow moving. The center of the low is going to be near Lake Superior. What we're going to get into is a bit of wraparound snow. And we could see an additional trace to maybe 2-3 centimeters of snow for parts of the GTA. Again, this is a big time of year for travel as we visit all of our friends and family. So you need to take it easy because anywhere outside the Greater Toronto region is going to see heavier snowfall on Tuesday. We also have this potential for some lake effect snow late on New Year's Eve. So this is really how we're rounding out the year 2019 in the month of December. Just unsettled, wet, rainy, windy, icy, and snowy the next couple of days.
Environment Canada is advising drivers to be aware of the conditions and drive accordingly.
680 News Time, 8:34. Toronto police continue to investigate the city's latest homicide. 680's Joey Keating reports.
Police have identified the city's latest homicide victim. Officers say 26-year-old Koshin Yusuf was shot and killed early this morning outside a residential building in Scarborough. Police say he was approached by 2 suspects near McCowan and Trudell Street. According to police, the pair pulled out guns and fired multiple shots and then fled the area. Officers say they are still working to piece together a description of the suspects. Anyone who possibly captured this incident on a security camera or anyone with information is asked to contact the police. I'm Joey Keeney. 680 News Time, 8:35. Another homicide victim identified by police today. 680's Caitlin Lee has the latest on the investigation in Etobicoke.
Toronto police say the 75th murder victim of the year is 26-year-old Dominic Ramal Kelly. Just before 1 a.m. on Friday, officers responded to a call for a shooting in Etobicoke. Investigators say Kelly was parked in a vehicle on Eva Road in the West Mall when a dark-colored four-door SUV pulled up alongside and opened fire. The vehicle then drove off. When officers found him, Kelly was rushed to hospital, but he later died of his injuries. Anyone with information or video of the incident is asked to contact the homicide unit. I'm Caitlin Lee.
680 News Time, 8:36. The stabbing in North York this morning has sent 2 people to hospital. Police were called to the area of Wilson Avenue and Collins and Boulevard, close to Bathurst, just before 10 a.m. Paramedics have confirmed that with 680 that the 2 individuals involved, a male and a female, were sent to a trauma center and the injuries appear to be serious. Police say 1 person is now in custody.
680 News Time, 8:36. Local police are reacting to what appears to be a hate-motivated attack south of the border after 5 people were stabbed at a rabbi's house north of New York City.
It happened during a Hanukkah celebration Saturday night in Muncie. Police say the suspect, Grafton Thomas, faces 5 counts of attempted murder. Joseph Gluck witnessed the attack.
He took out his knife sword from a holder and started hitting people back and forth. Nothing, didn't say anything.
Gluck chased Thomas into the street and was able to get his license plate number. That led police to capture him in New York City. Governor Cuomo calling the attack and others like it acts of domestic terrorism.
These are terrorists in our country perpetrating terrorism on other Americans, and that's how we should treat it.
This attack comes on the heels of a string of attacks targeting Jews not just in the state but in the country. I'm Julie Walker.
Meantime, here at home, Mayor John Tory saying we condemn this hateful violence and the clear anti-Semitism fueling it.
680 News Time, 8:37. Peel Regional Police continue to investigate after confrontation at Huron Street near the Highway 403 overpass. Shots were fired from one vehicle to another along Huron, Ontario this morning. Police tell 680 News that they don't have a description of a suspect or the vehicle they were driving. Police also say the driver wasn't hurt.
680 News Time, 8:37. 20 more Canadian firefighters are set to arrive in Australia tomorrow. 680's Lisa Stacey's hearing from a member of the BC Wildfire Service who's been helping out in Australia for the past month.
Eric Antefeyev spent this Christmas fighting fires in 41-degree weather. The destruction in New South Wales is unprecedented, but a partnership between Canada and the Aussies is not.
It was really positive experience working with Australians in BC for 2 seasons, so it's good to, be able to sort of repay and come back and help out.
The weather creates volatile conditions, and the fire season in Australia is far from over. Antefeyev says crews are exhausted, but morale is high, and the Aussies took care to extend holiday hospitality to their visitors. He's stationed near a koala refuge and is hoping to pay it a visit before he leaves in January. I'm Lisa Stacey.
680 News Time, 8:39.
680 News.
Here in review.
Brought to you by the Chesterfield Shop.
This is Irene Precliffe with a look back at August 7th, the day RCMP announced a massive manhunt for 2 teen murder suspects was over. Briar Schmigelski and Cam McLeod were wanted for 3 murders in BC. The search for them spanning Canada-wide and ending in northern Manitoba.
This morning, at approximately 10 a.m., RCMP officers located 2 male bodies in the dense brush within 1 kilometer from where the items were found. This is approximately 8 kilometers from where the burnt vehicle was located.
That burnt vehicle belonged to one of the victims. Police would go on to reveal the pair recorded a last will and testament before they killed themselves.
In the videos, the suspects took responsibility for all 3 murders. They indicated no remorse for their actions, as well as their intentions to potentially kill others. These videos do not contain any information regarding the motive behind their actions.
With the year in review, I'm Irene Precliffe.
Still to come on 680 News, a check on gas prices and traffic and weather together on the ones. 680 News Time, 8:39.
Hi, Pam Friedman again, and her husband Steve. Pam, what's more important this time of year than spending quality time with your family and friends?
How about our annual Boxing Week sale where we chop the prices on all our best selection of contemporary leather and fabric seating?
So for this week only, call us at Chesterfield Shop. Get it?
Chesterfield Shop, your leather superstar. Great Boxing Week specials all weekend in North York, Newmarket, Mississauga, Scarborough, and Midtown Toronto.
Now, the 680 News gas price update. As Emperor predicted, the price of gas won't budge at midnight. It's expected to hold at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTA stations. 680 News time, 8:40.
The weather outside is frightful. The fire is so delightful. Since we've no place to go.
The holidays don't quite feel like the holidays without a home. Share the warmth with Toronto's homeless this holiday season by donating at fredvictor.org.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift you really want. The strikingly bold, all-new GMC Sierra. The winter clear-out event is on at GMC. Until January 2nd, get 0% financing for up to 72 months. Plus, $7,000 total value on all 2019 Sierra 1500 elevation pickups with bold exterior styling and 20-inch black aluminum wheels. It's the gift everyone wants. Hurry into your GTA dealer or visit gmcoffers.ca for details.
680 News time, 8:41. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Just Colette Desjardins.
And this report is brought to you by Global Story Network. On the eastbound 401, Bayview and the Express problems have cleared. On the eastbound 401 in Whitby, east of Brook Street, the left lane is blocked, and that's all because of pothole repairs. If you're on the eastbound 409, the express ramp to the eastbound 401, the left lane is blocked with a crash. Emergency crews are on the scene, but the good news, it's not causing a delay. Right now, northbound Gardner is looking good out of the downtown core. Eastbound Gardner, it's getting a little bit busy east of Jarvis, and that's in the construction zone between York and the Don Valley Parkway, where it's down to 2 lanes. Again, that's long-term construction. Every Lexus that leaves Lexus of Oakville comes with all 54 employees as standard equipment. Nobody looks after you like Lexus of Oakville, home of the ultimate Lexus experience. Visit LexusofOakville.ca. Your next traffic report is at 8:51. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriacci.
Very active weather tonight and even through the day tomorrow, so don't expect things to lighten up all that much. In fact, the winds are going to get stronger after midnight. We'll see another 5 millimeters of rain or so through the day tomorrow. Temps will climb to near 8 degrees and then fall near 0. We'll see a change over to some flurries. Looks like some flurries on and off throughout the day on Tuesday, maybe a trace to 2 centimeters, highs only near about +1. Light drizzle at Pearson right now. The threat for freezing rain continues tonight. Your overnight low is 1 degree.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News. Before the CSIS, it appears the RCMP decided to try being spies. The Mounties devised a top-secret plan to photograph communist and Soviet bloc officials traveling through Pearson International Airport. The Canadian press obtaining this information through the Access to Information Act. The plan was hatched back in November of 1964 by a member of the RCMP Security and Intelligence Branch. It involved a special police squad made up of members from the province and Toronto Police Force. It was believed that due to the number of East Bloc officials traveling through the airport, the squad's photographic efforts might prove rewarding. Still to come on 680 News, investigators in Louisiana continue to look into the cause of a plane crash. 680 News time, 8:43.
For 8 days, Toronto glows a little bit brighter as giant outdoor menorahs light up the night sky. As you travel our city, you'll see them at Old City Hall, Nathan Phillips Square, lighting up the foot of Queen's Park. There are some 30 of them around the GTA, shedding light from Niagara Falls all the way up to Aurora. These menorahs have been placed by the Chabad Lubavitch organization to help publicize the message of Hanukkah, the miraculous triumph of religious freedom over oppression. Still, the main celebration of Hanukkah remains a family affair. So in the evening of each of the 8 days of Hanukkah, gather your family and light the menorah, adding an additional flame each night. If you'd like to find out more or for a holiday guide, visit us online at Hanukkah.ca. This message is brought to you by Steele's Memorial Chapel, wishing you a happy Hanukkah. This is All News Radio. 680 News.
Light rain and 1 degree in downtown Toronto. Good evening. From the 680 News Broadcast Center, I'm Linda Baba, and here are the top stories this hour. Freezing rain and snow. Things are getting messy this evening and into tomorrow morning's commute. Environment Canada has issued freezing rain warnings for much of southern Ontario, forecasting ice pellets and snow transitioning into freezing rain by Monday morning. And Toronto police are searching for 2 suspects after a fatal shooting in the city's East End. 26-year-old Yoshin Youssef was killed at a community housing complex in Scarborough early this morning. Officers suspect that he was approached by 2 male suspects, but no descriptions have been released at this time. And coming up after sports, a serious shooting in a southern U.S. church caught on video. 680 News Time, 8:45. Now, 680 Sports with Sportsnet. I'm Nadia the Fan. Here's Colin Tetzky.
Raptors hosting the Thunder at Scotiabank Arena, and Kayan Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had himself a game for OKC.
Gilgeous-Alexander, dribble drive on the near side, into the corner to Paul. Lowry closed out. Paul gave it up to Gilgeous-Alexander. 7 on the shot clock. Shane Lane leans in, off glass and in. And the Thunder go back up 1 as Gilgeous-Alexander has 32.
Eric Smith with the call on Sportsnet 590. The Fan. So Gilgeous-Alexander has the most points in Toronto by a Canadian with 32. OKC leads Toronto with a 98-97 win, dropping the Raptors to 22-11 on the year. Happening now on Sunday Night Football. Winner of this matchup wins the NFC West, and it's the 49ers up 3-0 on the Seahawks in the first quarter. Loser will get the Philadelphia Eagles next week, and the Eagles went into New York and beat the Giants 34-17 as they win the NFC East, knocking out the Cowboys. While in the AFC, the final wildcard spot was secured by Tennessee, who beat Houston earlier this afternoon, 35-14. Also in the AFC, the Patriots will not be hosting next week as they lose to Miami 27-24. They also don't get a bye as well to the second round. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, or anytime on the home of Tim and Sid on TV and radio. Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
680 News Time, 8:47.
Hey everyone, Sam from Best Brand Appliance. So us and Sub-Zero Wolf are bringing you just in time for the holiday season, the Sub-Zero Wolf outlet, between 25 to 45% off Sub-Zero and Wolf. An incredible opportunity for all of you who are building or renovating, and also an amazing opportunity for all you designers and builders to get your clients massive discounts on Sub-Zero Wolf. This is in-store only, so just come to our Toronto or Vaughan location and see our amazing reps. If you're seeking Sub-Zero Wolf, come see the Sub-Zero Wolf outlet now at Best Brand Appliance.
In an emergency, radio can warn us.
Predicting over 35 centimeters of snow coming.
Radio can direct us to safety and give us hope.
Evacuees can find shelter, food, and help at the community center.
And radio can reconnect us.
Help is waiting for you 1 hour west of the city.
Radio is our greatest.
Help is waiting for you 1 hour west of the city. What a strange thing to play that you have to advertise in yourself.
Any emergency. For more information, visit
You better trust us because we're the only connection to the people that can help you.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News. Democrats are still fighting to get witnesses blocked by U.S. President Donald Trump to testify in his Senate impeachment trial.
Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen on ABC's This Week warning Republicans that if they don't hold a serious trial, Americans won't have faith in the impeachment process.
Those who vote against witnesses and vote against documents are essentially telling the American people they don't want to see anything, they don't want to hear anything, and in doing so, you're really complicit in a cover-up.
The president tweeting against the impeachment, calling the House Speaker crazy. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Is that like a...
U.S. investigators are in the early stages of piecing together evidence to determine why a small twin-engine plane crashed shortly after takeoff in Louisiana. It happened yesterday afternoon, killing 5 people just a minute after leaving the Lafayette Regional Airport. The NTSB's Bruce Landsberg says a low-altitude alert was sent to the pilot.
The airplane climbed to 900 feet. The warning came when the airplane descended through 700 feet. There was no distress call, and what we know now, preliminary, is there was no conversation with the crew.
Landsberg said investigators would be looking into the pilot's qualifications, the aircraft's maintenance records, as well as evidence from the charred scene. In the southern United States, a shooting at a church near Fort Worth, Texas this morning was captured on video.
Like a growing number of churches, West Freeway Church of Christ streams its services to the internet just before 10 this morning. With webcams rolling, a man with either a rifle or a shotgun takes aim. 2 people have died, a third was critically injured. A new state law allows firearms to be carried in houses of worship. The video stream shows a church member shooting the gunman. Jim Ryan, ABC News, White
Exactly. What did I just say? Shoot back.
Coming up in just 60 seconds, traffic and weather together on the ones.
You know they're going to shoot at you or do something to you. You know something bad's going to happen sooner or later.
Holiday
Fucking
deals
shoot
are in
back.
full swing, and the fun continues with Boxing Week. Treat yourself. You've earned it. The Samsung Galaxy S10 or A70 is
They
at
make
$0
100
on
round
select
9mm
two-year
drums for
plans.
drops.
$0,
Oh.
never-ending fun. And go all out without going over with data overage protection
They make
included on
masterpiece
all new
arms.
plans. Hurry up in store or at
It's
finder.ca
basically
to
a Mac
discover
11.
more holiday deals.
They take
Conditions
block
apply.
magazines. Oh my God.
Go get it.
Something's always coming up. Home improvements, kids' education, car repairs, credit card bills. Maybe you even saw a real deal on an investment property. Well, don't wait for the money to fall from the sky. Call Northwood Mortgage and start taking care of business. Use your home to save money. Pay off your mortgage faster. See why Canadians have turned to Northwood Mortgage for over a quarter of a century. Visit NorthwoodMortgage.com.
It's with all this. I keep smoking on my face stuff lately.
680 News Time, 8:51. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
And this report is brought to you by Global Story Network. If you're traveling right now on the eastbound 409, the express ramp to the eastbound 401, that has cleared. No problems on the eastbound 401 right now, just that Easterbrook Street, the left lane is blocked by pothole repairs. Should be finished at some point this week. Right now, if you're on the westbound Gardner, looks pretty good out of the downtown core. Westbound Lakeshore, that was busy from Bay to west of York. Starting to fill in, approaching Jameson as well. On the eastbound Gardner, just a little bit busy east of York to Cherry, and that's because you're in that construction zone that's down to 2 lanes. Getting around on city streets, really no problems at this point, just that long-term construction that was on Commissioners both ways is closed from Munition to the Don Roadway, and the Don Roadway that's closed from Commissioners down to the Lakeshore. Again, long-term construction until May 2020. Jody Miller, one of America's hottest comics, says a lot about getting older and still being single. Don't miss your podcast, Don't Call Me Ma'am. Visit globalstorynetwork.com. Your next traffic report at 9:01. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriacci.
A light drizzle, misty conditions, and still the threat for freezing rain as the freezing rain warnings remain in effect through most of York-Durham region and the north end of Halton Peel as well. On the surrounding areas in southern Ontario, the winds very gusty through the overnight. Monday, an additional 5 millimeters possible with still some strong winds, especially through the morning hours. Highs near 8 degrees tomorrow, and then we'll fall to near freezing. So a change over to flurries Monday night. Tuesday also the chance of some on and off flurries throughout the day as we kind of hover around zero. Right now it is +1 at Pearson and downtown Toronto, and that's your overnight low near 1 degree.
Coming up at 9 o'clock, we'll keep you updated on the messy weather headed for the city this evening and into tomorrow morning. And we'll also have the latest on a homicide investigation at a Toronto community housing complex. 680 News Time, 8:53.
It's Boxing Week at Bay Bloor Radio. Time for our great Canadian speaker sale featuring Totem Acoustic. For over 30 years, Vince Bruzzese has been lovingly crafting his Totem speakers right here in Canada. The sound is warm and musical. And the price? It's as close as you can get to buying direct from the factory. Bay Bloor Radio's Boxing Week sale. TVs, turntables, headphones, and more, in-store and online. And if you miss it, you miss it.
And from our family to yours, have a happy new year filled with the magic of music.
At 680 News, we know weather.
And we guarantee it.
If we're off by more than 3 degrees, we'll announce a lucky winner of our growing cash jackpot.
Now, get more chances to win each month and vacation better with Sunwing.
Enter in December for your chance to win an all-inclusive vacation for 2 at the Grand Memories Splash in Punta Cana.
Located near Bavaro Beach with one of the largest water parks, you can enjoy excitement and relaxation with 24-hour room service and 7 enormous water slides.
The
680 News weather guarantee with Sunwing at the Grand Memories Splash
at 680news.com.
You've heard the phrase life imitating art, and for Hollywood actor Zac Efron, that phrase almost came true. Efron was hospitalized in Brisbane, Australia, after contracting an illness while filming a new TV show in Papua New Guinea. The show's title is Killing Zac Efron, and it's a survival show, an adventure series actually set in the deep jungle. The High School Musical actor is recovering and is believed that he came afflicted with a form of typhoid similar to a bacterial infection. Efron was given the okay to be flown back home, and the show is expected to air on the new streaming service Quibi. This is 680 News. Coming up in just 60 seconds, our weekend business report. 680 News Time, 8:55.
How big are the Boxing Week savings at Aero Furniture? You're gonna want to sit down for this one in your new Aero Furniture chair and sofa, flanked by those end tables that match that coffee table. Get them all, because right now you can save up to 70% on furniture for every room in your home while quantities last. Don't miss it. Save up to 70% at Aero Furniture's Boxing Week blowout today only at all 4 locations in the GTA. Find out more at aerofurniture.com. That's aerofurniture.com.
It's here. The Boxing Week Blitz at Aaronwood Ford. You'll get our amazing year-end price, plus our gift of up to $2,000 in Aaronwood bonus bucks. It's the sale you've waited for all year. Huge inventory, no admin fees, plus up to $2,000 Aaronwood bonus bucks. Buy your car online today. Aaronwood Ford. The easy way. Aaronwood's famous Boxing Week Blitz is here. Get up to $2,000 in Aaronwood bonus bucks. Shop AaronwoodFord.com.
680 News Time, 8:56. Now time for the 680 News Weekend Business Report.
I'm Mike Apple. It's been dubbed experiential marketing. At its basic level, it's about affecting consumers through experience and emotion. The fast-growing Canadian company is a leader in the trend. Montreal's The Moment Factory, which originated as a lighting company to A-list music acts, but then branched out to create one-of-a-kind light and sound attractions. Its latest is currently on display over the holidays at the Toronto Zoo in an event called Terra Lumina. The founder of The Moment Factory is Eric Fournier.
The Toronto Zoo wanted to create a winter experience, so to bring the families into the zoo during the winter time. And we have been working on a concept we call Lumina, which is a night walk. And we, through the use of technologies, images, and so on, create a story. And the objective is really for people to live a very interesting experience on the theme of wildlife preservation and sustainability.
The Moment Factory has grown from a team of 3 to more than 400 in 600 global offices. The Terra Lumina project follows other high-profile light installations at the LA airport, Microsoft's flagship store in New York City, and others in China and Thailand.
You can think about some of them as being digital art that creates an element in the experience of people. So the LAX airport work we've done is really to transform the experience of the traveler. The Jacques Cartier Bridge in Montreal is to embellish the city with the cool lighting of a bridge.
Fournier says it's all about creating something new and innovative to stand out from traditional marketing.
Part of the challenge is to get people outside of their screen. So we're answering to a need to use those cool technologies to create an experience that's real life.
Eric Fournier with the Moment Factory. The Terra Lumina show runs at the Toronto Zoo through the holidays. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
At Marshall Toyota, you're a member of the family, so you can be honest about the gifts you got for Christmas. Blue cheese scented nose ring? Neat. I don't even have my nose pierced. And you can be honest about what you really want. Right now at Markville Toyota, get financing from 0% or leasing from 0.49% on select 2019s. Or up to $8,000 in cash savings on other select models. You guys, totally get me. It's time to Toyota at Markville Toyota, Highway 7, just east of McCowan.
Joker, the meteor set to collide with our west coast in mere minutes. What do we do? Not to worry, Governor. I will simply fly around the Earth fast enough to reverse our polarity and turn back time. Joker away! You've only taken 3 steps. Here I go. You're basically standing still. Can the Toka help innocent citizens breathe easier? Probably not. Find out why at thetokaonline.ca.
In Hamilton, overcast 2 degrees. Mississauga, cloudy and 2 as well. In Newmarket, light rain 1 degree. Pickering, overcast and 1 degree. Right now in downtown Toronto, light rain 1 degree, but feeling more like -7 with the wind chill. The News Watch never stops. 6:80 News Time, 9 o'clock.
For breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Good evening. This is Sunday, December the 29th. I'm Tim Chapman.
And I'm Eden Dubaba. Here's making news this hour.
It's been a cold, wet Sunday, and our weather specialist says things are going to get worse for Monday. 15 million Canadians were affected in the LifeLabs data breach, and 5 of them are heading to court.
Toronto police identified the city's 76th homicide victim of 2019. 2 suspects are still at large.
Police still searching for clues after a 26-year-old man was murdered in Etobicoke early Friday.
Canadian Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with a record night for Oklahoma City as they leave Toronto with the win. And early, it's all San Francisco on Sunday Night Football versus the Seahawks. Sports at 15. And coming up in business, a New Year's resolution for a number of Canadians is building a future-focused retirement plan. We'll hear from an expert on what to keep in mind as you prepare.
680 News Time, 9:01.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
And despite that, we've got the freezing warning in effect. We've got drizzle, rain right now. Everything is looking pretty good on the main highways around the GTA. And I'm keeping my eyes glued to the cameras just to watch out for anything that might block lanes or cause a delay. Right now, the Scotiabank is out. Raptor fans are heading home, so that's causing a bit of a delay right now. This report brought to you by 407 ETR. So if you're on the westbound Lakeshore, it's filling in from Bay over to west of York, and then Spadina to Bathurst. It's also filling in as you approach Jameson. If you're on the eastbound Gardner, a little bit heavy approaching Cherry. That's because it's down to 2 lanes through that construction. And right now, the 401, it's looking good across the city. The QEW, haven't seen any problems between Burlington and the Mississauga area. The 403 through Mississauga, that was also reported to be in pretty good shape. Same with the 427 as well. With 24/7 monitoring of the 407 ETR's road conditions and crews on standby, you don't have to give up your safe and reliable drive this winter on 407 ETR. Your next traffic report is at 9:11. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriacci.
Well, we've still got those freezing rain warnings in effect, a light drizzle right now downtown Toronto. It feels like -7, but we're sitting at about +1 on average through the GTA. The wind's getting really gusty now as we continue to move through the overnight. Wind gusts up to 60-70 kilometers an hour. Periods of rain and drizzle will continue through the day on Monday. Highs near about 8 degrees with approximately 5 more millimeters of rain through the day. And a change over to some flurries as we fall to near freezing. Light drizzle and 1 right now at Pearson Airport. Your overnight low is 1 degree.
Right now, downtown Toronto, light rain 1 degree, and at Pearson Airport, a few clouds and 1. 680 News Time, 9:03.
It's been a good day to stay indoors with a mix of cold, wet rain, and even a bit of snow across the GTA.
680's Denise Andriacci is on the weather watch and has the details of what tomorrow's forecast brings for your morning commute.
A massive storm system has pushed into the Great Lakes. We have freezing rain warnings in effect through most of York and Durham region. Freezing rain is expected to continue tonight and into tomorrow morning. We could see up to 10 millimeters of ice accretion, and of course, it's not just the slippery conditions on the roads and the sidewalks and walkways, but also the ice accretion on tree branches and on power lines that could result in power outages across southern Ontario. Of course, areas outside the GTA, it looks like a greater threat of prolonged periods of freezing rain, but we still have that risk predominantly through northern York and Durham regions, but we still have the chance for the rest of the GTA to see a bit of freezing drizzle and ice pellets mixed in with all of this rain that's falling.
Environment Canada is advising drivers to be aware of the conditions and drive accordingly.
680 News Time, 9:04. The personal info of 15 million Canadians was breached by LifeLabs earlier this year, and some of those Canadians are taking it to court. 680's James Mackin has the latest.
A proposed class action lawsuit has been filed against LifeLabs for their recent data breach.
Lawyers Peter Walt
Altman and Andrew Stein filed a claim in Ontario's Superior Court on December 27, in which they accused Life Labs of breach of contract, negligence, and violating their customers' confidence. The two lawyers represent 5 named plaintiffs, but they hope to represent all Canadians affected by the data breach, most of whom reside in Ontario and British Columbia. 15 million Canadians were affected in the data breach, in which various personal pieces of information were leaked, including health card numbers, login info, and the lab results of 85,000 customers in Ontario. The class action lawsuit, yet to be certified, asks for more than $1.13 billion in compensation for all Life Labs clients, as well as extra punitive and moral damages. I'm James Mackin.
680 News Time, 9:05. The number of homicides continue to rise in the Toronto area. 680's Joey Keeney has more about today's incident.
Toronto police have identified the victim of the city's latest homicide as 26-year-old Koshin Yusuf. This is Toronto's 76th homicide of the year. Earlier this morning, around 3 a.m., the victim was approached by 2 suspects outside of a home near McCowan and Trudell Street. Police say the suspects drew their gun and fired multiple shots and fled the area. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone with information or any camera footage of this incident is asked to come forward and contact Toronto Police. I'm Joey Keeney.
680 News Time, 9:06. Toronto police are still investigating a fatal shooting that happened in Etobicoke early Friday. 680's Caitlin Lee tells us detectives are asking for your help.
26-year-old Dominic Ramal Kelly died in hospital on Friday after being rushed to a trauma center. Around 1 a.m., he was found injured inside his vehicle parked in the area of Eva Road and the West Mall. Police believe someone inside of a dark-colored 4-door SUV pulled up next to him, shooting Kelly multiple times and then driving off. Investigators are looking for witnesses or dash cam footage of the crime. They're appealing for anyone with information to come forward. I'm Caitlin Lee.
This is 680 News. 2 more people have been sent to hospital with serious injuries early this morning in North York. The 2 victims were stabbed in the area of Wilson Avenue and Collison Boulevard, close to Bathurst. Paramedics telling 680 News the male and female victim were transported from the scene to trauma center. It happened before 10 this morning. Police say 1 person is now in custody.
680 News Time, 9:07. New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo has spoken out about the stabbing at a rabbi's house in Muncie, New York.
An intruder who stormed into the suburban New York home of a rabbi took out a knife and stabbed 5 people just as they were gathering to light candles for Hanukkah. New York's governor visiting the Hasidic rabbi's house on Sunday morning called the violence a terrorist attack and evidence of
an American cancer in the body politic.
The New York Police Department said the suspect was arrested. A 37-year-old New York man faces 5 charges of attempted murder. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau among the world leaders condemning the violence, tweeting in part, "It's a sad reminder of the rising numbers of such heinous acts." Governor Cuomo says he's directed state police to investigate the stabbings as a possible hate crime.
This is an intolerant time in this country, and I consider this an act of domestic terrorism.
For City News, I'm Karen Seolin.
This is 680 News at 9:08. MI6, the CIA, and the KGB weren't the only spy services operating during the Cold War. The Canadian press reporting that declassified RCMP records devised a secret Cold War plan to photograph communist and Soviet bloc officials traveling through Pearson International Airport. A member of the RCMP Security and Intelligence Branch pitched the project in November of 1964 and created a special police squad that watched flights daily from 6 a.m. until the early hours of the morning. This was 2 decades before the birth of the Canadian Security Intelligence Services, also known as CSIS. No word yet on how long the project continued for, but presumably it ended around the same time as the Cold War.
And despite coming up short against Team Russia, Canada received a little good news on the injury front today, and that's ahead of tomorrow's game against Germany.
Team Canada was handed their worst loss in World Juniors history yesterday as the Russians blanked them 6-0. The Canadians were already down 3-0 when projected #1 overall pick Alexis Lafreniere went down as well. This morning, an MRI determined that he had suffered no fractures or ligament tears to his knee. There is still hope that he returns later in the tournament, but Canada will be without him for their match against Germany tomorrow. That game goes at 9 a.m. Eastern. In the 18-year-old's absence, Captain Barrett Hayton has been moved up to the first line. Expect to see continued line juggling as they try to replace the production of the star winger. For Sportsnet 590 The Fan, I'm Shoaib Ali.
Still to come on 680 News, traffic and weather together on the ones. This portion of the news brought to you by Harvey Brooker, weight loss for men. 680 News time, 9:09.
You're listening to Toronto's 680 News.
I'm off the medications and I feel great because I lost the weight that was making me sick. And you can too. I'm Pat Carano, a 51-year-old accounting professional from Woodbridge. Sleep apnea, sciatica, I had it all until I lost the weight and kept it off with the team at Harvey Brooker Weight Loss for Men.
Don't miss 20% off 2020 memberships. New members only. Call now 416-222-9887. HarveyBrooker.com.
If you could do it alone, you would have done it already.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Enpro predicts the price of gas will stay the same at midnight, holding at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTA stations. 680 News time, 9:10.
Some holiday deals on the internet sound good.
A half-price invisible unicorn? Sold.
But when you think about them, empty. You got me again, internet. Not so much. Get a great holiday deal you don't have to think about at the Bring Home a Honda event. Lease the new 2020 Honda Civic LX for just $65 weekly at 3.99% and $0 down, including a $750 Honda bonus. Includes freight and fees for 60 months. Taxes extra OAC. See HondaOntario.com. Bring Home a Honda. No thinking required. Have you heard? TSC is celebrating Boxing Day every day from now until New Year's Eve. That means you can take advantage of the biggest markdowns of the year whenever you want without ever going outside. Save up to 65% on clearance items, including fashion, jewelry, beauty, and home products. Plus, all electronics are available with 12 easy pay payments. You won't want to miss a beat during TSC's Boxing Week blowout. Now until New Year's Eve. Shop TSC.ca. Today's shopping choice.
680 News time, 9:11. Now with traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Descharnais.
And this report brought to you by Audi Queensway. If you're on the westbound Lakeshore, it's busy off and on from Ontario Place to Jameson. And on the eastbound Gardner, it's busy from Cherry to the Don Valley Parkway, where that construction zone has things down to a couple of lanes. Raptor fans are heading home, but everything looks good on the westbound Gardner.